August meeting of the Alexander County Board of Commissioners into session. At this time, I'd ask each and every one of you to please stand. Chairman Yoder will have the invocation. Vice Chairman Mayberry will have the Pledge of Allegiance. Let us pray. Our kind and most gracious Heavenly Father, we appreciate the opportunity that we're able to meet and have these type meetings. We appreciate the leadership and guidance that we have through our faith. Lord, we'd ask that you'd be with our military personnel, both at home and abroad. Be with our leaders that somehow they can find some way to stop this violence that's going on in Iraq and Afghanistan. Look after our military personnel and those people who have been captured. Be with their families. We'd ask that your blessings be upon them. We'd ask that you'd be with our law enforcement and our emergency service personnel, and also be with our military at home, our leaders, both national, local, and on the state level. For we ask all these things in thy name. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Is there any commissioner that has a report tonight? There being none, on the agenda tonight, there will only be one other item that will be added. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Darrell Robertson, our engineer, under item number 3. We'll have a special report under item number 3, and that will be on there. I'd make a motion that we approve the agenda with the addition of the special announcement.
I second.
Although, any discussion? All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Item number 1 on the agenda is public comment, as we did not have anyone to sign up tonight. We'll move along to item number 2, CVCC college transfer cohort program. I'd call on Linda Graham, the CVCC Alexander County Executive Director.
Good evening, Chairman Yoder, Commissioners, and Madam Clerk. Thank you for allowing us to share our enthusiasm with you tonight regarding our newest Catawba Valley Community College partnership with Alexander County Schools. Vice Chairman Mayberry, if you recall, just a very few short years ago, we shared a conversation and you had a vision. You came to me and you asked, what would it take to offer a college transfer program in Alexander County? Do you remember that?
I do.
It wasn't long after that the wheels started turning, which has resulted in an exciting collaboration between Alexander County government, Alexander County schools, and Catawba Valley Community College. Past Chairman Jennings, I'm sure you recall the many meetings in the Media Center at Alexander Central High School discussing a college transfer model that has now taken root in Alexander County. You remember that?
Sure do.
Many meetings.
Many meetings.
Now, due to its success, the CVCC Alexander Center for Education plus Alexander Central High School cohort model is now seen as a premier model for other schools. As a matter of fact, this same model is being implemented and has been implemented in Catawba County as they began their first cohort at Maiden High School this fall. Today, I am proud to say that we are in our second year of offering a college transfer cohort with 20 qualified high school seniors who have the potential to earn 13 college transfer credits this year. And they are, you may know some of these students, Anna Allen, Cody Arms, Leah Clark, Megan Cox, Candace Crawford, Riley Davis, Katie Fox, Philip Heike, Allie Lackey, Caleb Lori, Frank Petrella, Aubrey Reitzel, Hope Rogers, Ethan Simmons, Philip Stanley, Maria Thorson, James York, and Pa Zhang. Now, if I said their parents' name, you may know those before you know the students' names if you're like me. Moreover, we continue to increase our college transfer course offerings among the general public, so they too have a chance to obtain college transfer credits right here in Alexander County. Since partnerships are critical to the success of most institutions and organizations, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for believing in CVCC and Alexander County schools to help train, educate, and prepare our young people and citizens for the world of work. Skills such as critical thinking, teamwork, research, public speaking, and the importance of community service involvement are some of the core elements that make up classes in both Alexander County schools and Catawba Valley Community College. And now, the person who helped design and define the cohort model in both Alexander counties, in Alexander and Catawba counties, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Kay Gregory, Dean of the School of Education, Academics, and Fine Arts at CVCC. Afterwards, it's my pleasure to invite you to listen to Dr. Jennifer Heffner, our Superintendent of Alexander County Schools, to share with you too, as she also met tirelessly over the past few years to help create and endorse a college transfer model that may soon be the model for other school systems across the state of North Carolina to emulate. Dean Gregory.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am delighted this evening to have this opportunity to give you an update on year 2 of our cohort. And first of all, I'm just going to really run through sort of quickly because there may be people here in the audience who are not familiar with what this cohort involves, but it is an exceptional opportunity for these 20 students. Qualified Alexander Central High School students can earn college credits right here in Alexander County while they're enrolled at high school, and they're part of a cohort. I believe this cohort model is going to be key to its success because you have young people who are going through a new process together where they have the support of each other, the support of their high school counselors, as well as the liaison with our college. We do have a new high school liaison this year, Ms. Sarah McBride, and at some point I hope you have the opportunity to meet her. She is doing a wonderful job. Cohort students begin their college career in a supportive environment, and we can handle up to 25. This year, in this particular cohort, we have 20. The Career and College Promise Program is the way the state of North Carolina regulates how colleges and high schools interact in terms of college coursework. And so this dual enrollment program, we're under that CCP umbrella. But one of the huge benefits for Alexander County students involved in this cohort is that the tuition is free. And the first 5 courses that they take their senior year allows them to earn 11 semester hours of college credit. There's more benefits for these lucky students. Alexander County Schools provides free college course textbooks for cohort students while they're enrolled at Alexander Central. The schools provide a loan of the computer laptops, the Chromebooks for cohort students. And then on our end, the college is providing instructors to come here for seated classes, and I think that too is key to the success. These are not online classes, they're going to be seated classes. Some will be hybrid for scheduling purposes, just to get the correct number of minutes and hours that the state requires us to have, but a hybrid course still has a seated component. Okay, a few facts and figures. The first-year cohort tuition is free. If the students had to pay the normal community college cost, it would be $985 for those 13 semester credit hours. The state university cost would be $3,401 for those 13 hours. At a private university, it would run about $15,461. I got these figures from looking at 4 private universities within driving, range of Catawba County. After these students graduate from high school, as you know, they're going to have different paths that they follow. But we hope that some of these students will certainly continue and finish their AA degree at Catawba Valley Community College. The cost to them is $72 per credit hour plus their fees and textbooks.
Can I ask a question about fees?
Yes.
Is there an opportunity for students that may need financial assistance to get grants or loans to defray that cost?
The current fee is $17.25 per student. Not through normal financial aid, because they're still high school students, and it would take some other kind of funding to do that. But that's the best answer that I have right now. But the students are, that's the $17.25 times 2 for their senior year is still quite the bargain,
It is.
For what they're getting.
I would just suggest that maybe to see if you could uncover a stone and see if there was any way to do that in case somebody that prevented someone from taking advantage of this program.
Okay, well, I'll certainly take that under advisement.
Okay.
All right. One of the things that I'm excited about is that the cohort, since its inception last year and, implementation last year, I think it's given us critical mass to do more here in Alexander County. I know as a department head, 6-7 years ago, Ms. Graham would call me on the phone and say, can you offer something over at the Alex Center? And many times I would offer courses over here and then have to cancel those courses for low enrollment. Well, I think those days are over. We have an English 111 freshman comp class that's running right now down the hall with 13 people in it. And I just wanted to jump for joy when I saw that figure. I'll show you the lineup of courses that we have coming, in the future. We will be surveying the cohort courses more in the springtime, but I just walked down the hallway and talked to their teacher prior to 6 o'clock to find out from those students, those 13, how many of them are interested in English 112, which is on the schedule already for next spring, but also asking them if they would like to have a second course that would start at 7:30 after the first course at 6. So we're going to continue to reach out and offer as many college transfer courses as we can fill here. What I have up on the screen now is our initial schedule for the fall. The courses in the red ink are the cohort courses. We originally had 2 college transfer courses offered in the evenings. The COM 231 public speaking class did not make. I think one person signed up for that, but we have 13 in English 111, so I think we're moving in the right direction. For the spring, again, in the red ink, you'll see that we're teaching Art 111 and History 112, World Civilizations 2. We're also teaching in the evening CIS 110, Introduction to Computers, and English 112, so this follow-up course to English 111 we're doing this fall. And we do have a wonderful record of success with our CVCC graduates when they transfer to 4-year universities, and I'd like to call your attention to the next chart. I think a good measure of any program's success is when an outside agency puts together the statistics. In other words, CVCC is not bragging on itself. These statistics come from the university system. They look at different populations and how the transfer students succeed. And if you look at the chart, the second column shows how CVCC students fair who transfer to one of the 16 University of North Carolina campuses. That next chart says all CCs, that's all the 58 community colleges lumped as one, what their average is. And then they also track their own university transfer students. In other words, someone might transfer from Western Carolina to NC State. They see how all of those transfer students do after 1 year. And so you see their mean GPA, and if you look across the bottom of that chart, 2012 is the last year that we have statistics for, and you can see that the mean grade point average for CVCC is 2.90. For all of the community colleges lumped together, 2.85, and then the native university students who transfer, 2.91. So we're holding our own in terms of how well our students do when they transfer. That concludes my remarks, and I thank you for the opportunity to give this update.
Thank you.
I would like to ask the question.
All right.
These college transfer courses that they take, what university, all universities?
I am glad you asked that question because I forgot, there's something I wish I had put in my PowerPoint that I did not. This past February, the 58 community colleges and the 16 campus university system passed a new comprehensive articulation agreement, and so these courses will transfer to any of the 16 universities. They will also transfer to many private universities, and it is my understanding that some of the private universities are negotiating now, if you will, to become a part of the articulation agreement, but for this point in history, it's with the university system.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I have one question
Okay.
too, and Linda, I have forgotten the answer to the question, so I want to ask it again, and any one of you can answer it. How do students at Alexander Central become aware of the cohort program, and how are they guided toward it?
Their guidance counselors are our main conduit, and the guidance counselors work very closely with our high school liaison, Ms. Sarah McBride. Formerly, Ms. Roxy Poovey was that liaison, and prior to Ms. Poovey, it was Andy Anderson.
And that's what I'd worked with, yeah.
Right, right. So it's mainly through the counselors, but we also have meetings. I know I went to a meeting last spring over at the Alexander Central Auditorium in the evening where interested students come, and we have meetings with parents here on this campus as well.
How often is it reinforced, either socially with their guidance counselors or with group settings? Because, as Linda said, I think it's a very important program because the students who have finished their main courses at the high school, they have downtime. Now that downtime can be used for college transfer courses. So is it an ongoing thing through the academic year that this thing is reinforced?
I think I'm going to let Ms. Heffner take over from that. She's better qualified really to answer that.
Thank you. Thanks, Dean Gregory, and thank you, Commissioners, for letting me speak tonight. I'm going to be brief. Yes, we have a lot of support that is given to the student once he or she decides that they want to pursue this endeavor. You know that there are a series of tests and criteria that they have to meet, and sometimes students don't meet that the first time. So a great deal of support is given through that guidance counselor, and they get to come over and take the access test a couple of times to actually qualify for the coursework. But I was over here last spring. We had a meeting in one of the rooms down the other hallway. And honestly, I was a little bit afraid based on what the counselors had told me. They said, Dr. Heffner, we're really not sure we're going to have very many in attendance tonight. And I think this was probably sometime in February. So I drive over and I'm a little nervous about that. I walk into the room and 3 different times we have to bring chairs in. We were like sardines in there with interested parents and students. So the word is spreading and we're seeing a lot more interest. And I'll be honest with you, it's very easy to support something that you believe in. I believe in education, And I also believe in Catawba Valley Community College. And the reason being is because I'm a product of CVCC. I started that journey in 1987. And I will tell you that it's a little intimidating when you start a college experience, but the support that they get over here from the staff and from the counselors at the high school, they have been very successful. I looked today, and as Dean Gregory mentioned, we did commit early on to making this just as easy as possible for the students because it's a big leap, and it's a new endeavor for them. So we committed to buying their textbooks. And I don't know how much you remember about the price of a college textbook, but oftentimes you will spend more money on your textbooks than you will even on the course itself. I looked at our invoices today, and for the 2 cohorts that we have had over here in this program, we've spent just over $13,000 in textbook money. Well, then I took it a step further, and I looked at the cost of these books. They range anywhere from $100 per book to the math book. This past year cost $170 just for the textbook itself. So when parents hear things like, this is a free opportunity for your child to get a college experience, they're all over that, because not only are they getting that $72 per credit hour paid, but we have also committed to paying for their textbooks, and we treat it just like we would at the high school. The textbook is checked out to the student, and of course it's in very good or brand new condition when they get it. We assess that when it's turned back into us, and if it's been damaged, we of course have to charge the students, but luckily we haven't had any of that to happen. But we're looking to expand this program to juniors and seniors. For the past 2 cohorts, we've only let seniors enroll, and we're looking to expand. The only barrier that we've really talked about and that the students have addressed a concern about is that they are still indeed high school students. And when they come onto this campus, they take college-level courses. So especially like the math class proved to be difficult for them last year, and we have to continually remind them, while you're still enrolled in high school, this is a college-level course, and it will be harder than what you have done in high school. So honestly, that's the only barrier that we have had. I know that in Alexander County, I've met many times with high school staff, and we are committed to a successful pathway for every single child. First of all, we want to get them graduated, but on the day they graduate, we want them either enrolled in community college or a 4-year institution. We want them employed, preferably in a local business if that's possible, or we want them enlisted in the service. So the 3 E's, that's what we're committed to making happen for all of our children, and we're really excited about what's going on this very campus. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, thank you very much.
Okay,
Very good.
thank you.
It's come a long way since they first tried to get it started. The first year was a little disappointing then, because I know we worked on it several times.
That's
And
right.
all of you to be commended, the parents, the teachers, everyone at CVCC, but most importantly, the students are to be commended for taking that extra step to continue their education.
And lastly, if I may, Mr. Chairman, it's my pleasure to recognize a student that was involved with our first cohort, and she's on our campus tonight as a full-fledged college student enrolled in the college transfer program, Mara Hertzler. Mara, come join me. She participated in the first cohort last year and is now in her first year taking English 111, plans to take English 112. She's also our CVCC Emerging Leader Scholarship recipient this year. She's the daughter of Kyle and Tina Hertzler of the Ellendale community. Is there anything you'd like to tell them about the cohort?
I can.
Okay.
It was really good financially for me last year. I have an older brother that's in college, and I also have a twin sister that graduated last year. So for me to come my senior year in high school and take classes where I didn't have to pay, for the credit hours or the books, it was easier for the process to come into college.
Very good, very good.
Thank
It's always good to hear from the students. The students can give you more of an insight of what's going on than than sometimes what the leaders that are trying to get things done, and to hear you tell how well it helped you and how it assisted you is a fine statement toward the program. Thank you, young lady.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And we do want to share with you the second picture of our college cohort students. You can hang it in the government offices. And we shared with you the first cohort that I hope is displayed. I haven't gone over there to see it, but we dropped it off, I think, last semester. So this is cohort number 2 for you.
Linda, is this just the second year?
This is the second year of the college transfer cohort. Yes.
Okay. Because I knew I had several children go through Alexander Central. It was not out there then.
Right. This is the second year.
Linda, if I may offer this too, excuse me, Judy, if you're
Go
not
ahead, I'm through.
sharing a personal story. Graduated from Taylorsville High School in 1963 with 77 people in my graduating class, and then going to Chapel Hill, and I think at that time 700 people lived in Taylorsville, and the first class I walked into, there were 1,200 people in the class. My point being that if students can get a taste of the level difference between college courses and high school courses, that gives them a psychological step forward so that they don't get the academic culture shock when they go. And I'm not saying Alexander Central is a step down from UNC Chapel Hill or anything like, but it's different.
It is different.
Because when you go to a major university, quite frankly, the universities or colleges don't care whether you're there or not as far as studying. You're on your own. And so if you learn how to study, you learn how to get acclimated to these college courses, that even makes the cohort program even more important.
Well, and to piggyback off what Dean Gregory was saying about the classes that selected here, one of those is the College Success class. That's an ACA 122 class, and that's that nuts and bolts, how to survive college. How do you study? How do you manage your time? How do you budget your money? What are your other obligations outside the class so that you can, strive? How do you take advantage of resources on the campus, like our tutoring lab?
Right.
So those are the things that particular class tends to offer the student that they may get a little watered down at a bigger university.
Yeah, I'd like to add to Berkey's comment. Dr. Heffner, I'm a product of CVCC too. So now that I'm teaching, my smallest class that I have enrolled right now is 45 students. My largest class is 125. The smaller classes work better. And then this is a good thing for the students to take advantage of, to get into the college level coursework in a smaller cohort like that. They're going to get better instruction. And just for the people that are watching back home, there's no distinction at the four-year university level between a student that's gone through the cohort model, the community college model, or even a transfer from another university. We as professors, we don't look and we don't grade or adjust our curriculum. So it's absolutely an advantage to take advantage of these cost savings.
It is. And to add, looking down the road at some future cohorts, I think that, the possibilities are endless as we develop new programs of study right here in Alexander County, some technical programs. I think that cohort model might work out quite well with the high school students. So we'll be having those discussions as well.
Linda, one of the things I would like to see us do is expand on this, and you know that's the conversation we had from the beginning is, we want to keep moving forward. Eventually, at some point in time, for the average citizen in Alexander County to be able to come to this campus and earn a 2-year college transfer degree without ever having to take another course outside the county. Because if you look over the past 30, 40 years, how many tens of millions of dollars have been spent outside of Alexander County in, eating out, gas, tires, tuition, in getting that 2-year degree at a local community college in the surrounding counties. So if we can bring those tens of millions of dollars back to this county, that's a good thing. So we want to keep building on that, and we are building on that. So the industrial solutions technical aspect is getting ready to, we're going to start working on that very soon. So the engineer is here, so we might ask him a few questions while he's in the audience.
And Commissioner Mayberry, our hope is too that we can draw from not only citizens in this county to gravitate to these programs, but we want to grab some other students in some surrounding counties to migrate to our county as well, so that we'll have a richer population and maybe increase our population in Alexander County. People will be moving in instead of,
Is that possible?
I think that's, yeah, sure. Yeah,
I'm talking about, can they go to the, people from out of Alexander County go to the cohort program?
Not the cohort, but as we open up general population classes, like our English 111, anyone can register for that class.
Okay.
No matter where they live.
Why do you think only 20 out of what graduates, 375 people?
Well, those
Why do
are
you
the
think-
ones that qualified,
In other words, we only had 20 that qualified for the cohort program.
that decided to stay with the cohort.
Because, I mean, it's a no-brainer if it pays for your books, because I know personally how much books cost.
Well, and I think too with scheduling, and Dr. Heffner can speak to this, but with scheduling, these classes are run first period of the day. And for some students, they may have had to decide between some other class and this one, and perhaps that other class was one that they had to have to graduate, so there were some scheduling conflicts that may have prevented them from staying with the cohort.
Well, Linda, I want to thank you and everyone else at CVCC because, this started a long, long time ago, and everyone has gotten involved, and we're building on successes.
We are building on success.
How long has CVCC actually been in Alexander County?
Since 1980.
Since 80? Okay. So, that's a long time.
That's
We gotta
before
keep-
you was born.
No, I was born before then, but we got to keep building on
Yes, we
success,
do.
and I appreciate everything that you've done and all the hard work you've put into it to
Well,
make this
Certainly, your
successful.
leadership's important to the
Thank you.
direction we take. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. We appreciate each and every one of you. Item number 3 on the agenda tonight, North Carolina Department of Transportation Bridge Replacement 53 project at White Plains Road and East Middle School. Our engineer will be giving us the details on this particular bridge.
Mr. Chairman, hearing the last presentation, the comments made, I drifted back to 1966 when I graduated the class of 32 from Stony Point High School and went to NC State to become an engineer. And they assured me right off the bat they'd do everything they could to send me home. Dean Fadum took the whole engineering class into Riddick and explained to us how few of us would graduate. And the first 3 semesters were geared to make that happen. Mr. Chairman, in your packet, you have information that was provided by Professional Property Services Incorporated, who is working to square away the NCDOT rights-of-way for changing or redoing the bridge crossing Greasy Creek on White Plains Road. This, you have a letter in your packet dated September 23rd, 2014, which provides a summary of the information that was attached. Basically, if you're going from Highway 90 down White Plains Road, they're shifting the bridge. They would be shifting the bridge to your left as you go down White Plains Road, basically building a new bridge, keeping the old bridge in operation during construction. That was one of the concerns that the school system had raised, because shutting that road down would create a lot of school traffic being put on Highway 90 during very busy times of the day. And there is a letter in the file that they will work with the school to keep that bridge open, and they will coordinate shutdowns with East Alexander Middle School so that traffic problems will be kept to a minimum. The deed for this property is in the name of Alexander County Commissioners, because there was financing for the Stony Point Elementary School and East Alexander Middle School through borrowed funds, and because of that, the deed for that property transferred from the Board of Education to the County Commissioners, and that's why the County Commissioners do have to take action on this. Now, the Board of Education has received this information. They have gone through it, and they're in agreement that there's not a problem with doing this right away. If you look back the page just past the September letter, there is a summary of the real estate values, or the calculation for the real estate value. The total for the NCDOT right-of-way and the public utility right-of-way is $5,300. That's rounded up. The DOT offers the next highest $100. It actually calculates about $5,290-some. When I ran the numbers, and the guy with Professional Property Services, he went through his numbers first, and I think we were $3 apart based on the calculations. And this is based on current values of the property. I do have some GIS information that I pulled down. This area down at Greasy Creek and the intersection of White Plains Road, if you look at the 100-year floodplain map, a good portion of this property could not be used for anything because of the floodplain. It can be used for hiking or whatever, but we could not use it for construction. And that's generally the presentation. If there are any specific questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve the transfer of the land.
And I second it.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed, likewise, the motion carries. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman Yoder, I would like to read one sentence of this first letter from the Pete Varvis at Professional Property Services. Mr. Robertson, again, first let me thank you for all the work you have done to streamline this acquisition process and represent the various Alexander County entities involved. Your work has been so helpful. So I know you wouldn't read that out there by yourself.
Well, the first time he called and explained why he was calling, I explained to him that in Alexander County, a lot of effort had been put forth by the school board and the commissioners to work together to make sure nobody blindsided anybody, anything like that. And because of the track record we had with the Board of Education, we'd want to make sure they reviewed it. And if they had any questions, we'd try to get those resolved in the commissioners. And it's trying to keep everybody in the know, and I appreciate you reading it, but no, I wouldn't have read it.
Mr. Robertson, I believe at this time you have a special announcement you might want to make.
Special report,
Yes,
and I
special
think,
report involving environmental services.
yes, Mr. Chairman, I think the report is in your packet. There's a report that was prepared by IBS Environmental Services, and on September 23rd, IBS Environmental Services performed inspections at the Alexander County Courthouse. They inspected all areas, and they took air samples from all areas. And if you look at the last page of their report, it will show you where they actually, or the last two pages, are the floor plans from the courthouse. They took a total of 23 samples, and those last two pages will show you where the samples were actually taken in the facility. After testing of the air samples, IBS submitted a report of their findings on September 29th, 2014, which is the information you have. In that report, it's noted that at the time of the testing, relative humidity in areas tested was approximately 51.4% to 52.8%, and the inspector noted that there was no evidence of moisture intrusion in the building at that time. And by that, he means he didn't see any evidence of water or any smells. There is still some damage that was done to the interior back before when we had roof problems, some plaster problems that need to be corrected, but there was no evidence of moisture as he did his inspection. After testing of the samples. IBS submitted their report. The standard thresholds for limits for airborne concentrations of mold and mildews has not been established by either the federal government or the state of North Carolina. So the test data is compared to information that's put together by the National Allergy Bureau, which they have set up a scale that's used for comparison of mold and mildew. And for information, low level of spores is 0 to 6,499 pores per cubic meter. And since we've all experienced higher education, we know what that is. And it goes on up 6,500 to 12,999 is medium. High is from 13,000 to 49,999. Very high is over 50,000 pores per cubic meter. The highest measured level of spore count in the Alexander County Courthouse of the 23 samples is sample number 8. And sample number 8 measured 400 pores per cubic meter of air. And that sample was taken in the old commissioner's room, which is basically, I think, being kept closed and used for storage most of the time. But that 400 spores per cubic meter is very low on the chart as far as establishing mold or mildew in the facility. And I did make a note when I was, we had gotten the report that the commissioners received, the court order to check it.
The court order,
Yeah,
yes.
the court order to check it. Shortly after that, we also received a letter, or the county received a letter from the Department of Labor, and we will send them a copy of the report also, but the Department of Labor points out that they do not have a level of spore count that is established. You can go back, if you look at their information, they'll refer you back to General Statute 95, Section 192, Rights and Duties of Employers, and the paragraph they pick out reads, each employer shall furnish to each of his employees conditions of employment and find a place of employment free from recognized hazards that are causing or are likely to cause death or serious injury or serious physical harm to his employees. So that's a pretty big umbrella, and we don't have anything that's noted that would fall under that category.
So there absolutely was, based on the report and everything, no mold, no mildew in our courthouse.
That's correct.
And at that time, we were served with a court order, and they said that it was mold in that letter, if I'm not mistaken. And they said there was evidence of mold and mildew in the courthouse.
From what I understand in conversations and the people I've talked to, the grand jury actually did their walkthrough of the courthouse. It was on maybe a Monday or Tuesday after there had been a roof leak over the weekend.
Right.
And the roof leak was caused because there had been a break between a roof drain connection and the drain line. And it was over the Superior Courtroom, and it leaked. You got a hard ceiling in there, so all the water came off what used to be the old dome, rolled down to a light fixture and leaked through that light fixture and down on a workstation that is there in the courtroom. And I understand that the picture that was in the grand jury's report was a notebook that had been left laying on that workstation over that weekend. So because of the fact that it leaked and that particular notebook was there, and I hadn't seen the notebook, but I would imagine that the reason that it had mold on it after the temperature and humidity and moisture and so on, that was because there were mold spores on that notebook. But that's just Darrell speculating.
That's a speculation.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, at this time, Madam Clerk, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask our engineer, Mr. Robertson, along with our county attorney, to prepare a letter also involving all the information that's here. I'd like for that information to be mailed to the Superior Court judge who issued the court order. I'd like for it to also go to our Superior Court judge, Judge Crosswhite. I'd like for it to also go to our District Court Chief Judge. And I would also like for it to go to the sheriff. And I'd also like for it to go to the chairman of the grand jury. I'd also like for a copy of that letter, along with this report, to be given to the Title Times so that everybody in this county will understand that there's no mold or mildew in our courthouse. Number three, make sure that everybody understands that if something is brought to the attention of county government, that we react quickly and get proper officials to do the determination as to whether or not there is any mold or anything wrong with county property. And I'd like for that to be taken care of, and I will be more than glad to sign that. And make sure that you include the copy of this report with that so that they will have the credentials of the person who did the report. I don't even know who they are, but make sure all that's combined in there if you would, please. And I'd like to say thank you for getting on that job real quickly and finding out that we did not have mold in our courthouse. But I know we had the leak, know where the leak came from. What most people didn't understand was we just spent $60,000 on that roof and just had it redone. We went back as soon as we found out there was a problem. The people came over and they took care of the leak that was up there that was caused by the tremendous heavy rains that we'd had. They had come around the vent up there that is access to the roof, and all this was taken care of immediately the following day. The seal text inside the courtroom was also taken care of immediately. And I want to commend the county employees on the job that they did. And I think that having an expert to look to see what mold is very important. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir, and we will also send a copy of the report to the Department of Labor. Because
Department of Labor, that'll be very important because I understand that they did send us a letter about some things, so we need to make sure they get that also, along with a copy of the report and the credentials of the people that did the report, sir.
We'll take care of it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've got a few comments and questions. Mr. Robertson, who actually contacted the Department of Labor, and why would they have contacted the
I
Department?
don't know. The report, we got a letter, and attached to it was anonymous. They had a complaint number on their report, but if they had a name, I don't know who or what, but they had received a call.
Well, I just kind of wrote down the timeline of how things happened, and I think the public needs, they have a right to know, how this happened. As Chairman Yoder mentioned, we did have a new roof installed on the courthouse. Later, there was a rainstorm that clogged the pipe, and there's a leak. County manager is notified. He notifies the roofing company the leak is fixed. And Sheriff Bowman personally led the grand jury on a tour of the courthouse, as well as the county garage and some other buildings. County commissioners are served after our last meeting with a court order to investigate and fix the mold issues in the courthouse. A letter from the grand jury, as well as the statement from a member of the grand jury, is printed in the Taylorsville Times. Then at a Democratic fundraiser, several people were mentioning the dangerous mold conditions in the courthouse. There was a report of the fundraiser printed in the Taylorsville Times, which mentions the dangerous mold conditions. And then a letter to the editor from a couple weeks ago mentioned the mold problem as being a health problem for the public and county employees. It said it was time to stop begging for help with this problem and begin demanding it. And then someone reports the county commissioners to the Department of Labor for health issues related to mold in the courthouse. So does that pretty much surmise what happened?
So far as I know, that pretty well summarized it.
Okay. I just wanted to let the public know exactly kind of what happened. And in the report, I just wanted to go over one more time. The pours per cubic meter, is that correct? Am I
Yes,
saying
sir.
that right? It's 400. So a low reading is 0 to 6,499, and our courthouse came in at the highest reading of 400. So it is extremely low. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the summary that came with the report that gives the breakdown is on the first page of his cover letter, about 2/3 of the way down. That's where I pulled those numbers from as far, but the the 400 pours per cubic meter. And based on the measuring device they use, 0 to 6,499 is low. So the highest count we had was very low.
And in this report, I'll read here several times, there were no indications observed at the time of the inspection of any mold issues. That's a quote. The samples collected did not indicate a mold issue. Another quote. There is no evidence of any conditions that would result in mold issues in the rooms inspected. Quote. All right.
That's correct.
Very good. Anyone else?
Who's the custodian for that facility?
I can't tell you that, Andrew. I'd go back and check, but I don't know.
That's contracted services.
Darrell, I want to commend you for the job that you've done on this too, and Ryan, I'd like to commend you for telling the true story of the timeline on what took place and what Darrell found and the inspector found as far as the mold condition in the courthouse. And basically, a lot of people were led down the wrong path as to believing that the courthouse was completely overrun with mold and mildew, which we see from the report was completely not the case. And I hope it's reported in the press what the facts are as they actually are, as opposed to conjecture.
Madam Clerk, that Chief District Court Judge will be Dale Graham. Just make sure that we get that name in there.
And when you go back and look at the test reports that came back from the air samples, as you go down, total fungi is about, it's the fourth item up from the crossbar. That is the total measured pores in the middle column in each test is the count per cubic meter. So when you start looking at the report, the total fungi and the middle column gives you the actual count.
I would just like to say that I wish all homes, including my own, would get a report that good.
Anything else?
That'll be all, Mr. Engineer Robertson. And thank you very much. And once again, I want all the employees to know that was involved in this. They got on this very quickly, did everything they needed to do to correct and to make sure, positively sure, that there was not a problem in our courthouse. And thank you all for the job well done.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item number 4 on the agenda tonight is Clean Alexander Day. Clean Alexander Day will be on Saturday, the 25th of October, 2014. The thing that citizens need to remember, this will be for citizens will be allowed to dispose of their trash at any convenience site or at the landfill for a tremendous sum, no charge. There will be no charge on that day. It's all free. Convenience site and landfill hours will be extended to better serve our citizens in the county from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And this is a special time for Saturday only. Normal operating hours will resume on Monday, the 27th of October. Convenience sites will only accept bagged household trash. The following items will not be accepted at the landfill: any liquid material, hazardous material, or any material containing asbestos. And for more information on this, you can call 632-9467 or 632-1101. Now, all of our citizens are urged to take part in this countywide cleanup day, and they can get all this garbage and take it down there, and it will not cost them anything. This is one of the things that's being offered each year, and Josh Mitchell is the gentleman in charge. But if you have any questions, make sure that you call 632-9467 or 632-1101. That's Saturday, October the 25th, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., free garbage day at all of our convenience sites and at our landfill for household garbage only. Now, normally, we also have a day that we take hazardous material, which will be announced later in the year, and you will be notified when that is. So make sure you mark that down on your calendars and get everything cleaned up and get it down there. Item number 5 is the sales tax update. As most of you look at the sales tax, you will see, and if I can get this right, our sales tax are up for this time period. They're up about 25% from last year. If you look at the collections from the total collections from year to date for fiscal year 2015, the total sales tax are $350,803.21. For this same time period last year, our sales tax was $280,485.14. And that shows on this report that I have here, it says it's a 25% increase over from last year. So that's a good beginning to the first report we get this year on our sales tax, and I'm really glad to see that, especially seeing it's up that much, because that's very, very good. Any questions?
No, I'd just make a comment, that's a tremendous increase.
It is a good increase.
If we have a run rate through the rest of the year that continues that way, we're going to be in good shape on sales tax.
Be in good shape, absolutely. Item number 6 on the agenda tonight, board appointments and reappointments. We have one appointment that will be made tonight. That is the Western Piedmont Council of Government Uniform Home Consortium. That is Mr. Rick French for 2 years. I'd make that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Second, motion's been made and second. Is there any excuse me?
It was me, yeah.
Oh, okay. Brian.
I was starting to make it, but he
Oh,
did
that's
before I
fine.
did.
Yeah. All right, so this motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise. I'd like to take this time also to announce that there are 3 positions open on the Western Piedmont Council of Government Joint Nursing and Adult Care Committee, and we have 2 openings on the Town Planning Board of Adjustments. Now, if you want to take part in the Town Planning Board of Adjustments, you have to live in the ETJ, and if you will call our clerk at 828-632-9332 if you're interested in serving on any of these committees. It's always a good time for the citizens of our county to get involved in these things that go on, and these committees meet on a regular basis through the Council of Governments, and you get some very good information.
Mr. Chairman, if I may make a comment, just to clarify what the ETJ is. It's the extraterritorial jurisdiction. It doesn't end at the town limits. So if you're within the ETJ, which extends beyond the county limits, you can serve on that board.
Right, that's that 1 mile.
Right.
Right. Thank you very much. I left that out. I don't like when people just say ETJ or.
What that
right.
does mean.
They need to know what it is. Thank you very much, sir. Item number 7 on the agenda tonight, I'd like to call on Mr. David Eisenhower, Economic Development Director, Project Budget Ordinance, Applied Technologies Building Renovation Project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. As you noted, I was asked to present the project ordinance for the Applied Technology Building, which is located across the street adjacent to this facility, and that will be our industrial training facility that will be operated by Catawba Valley Community College. This project represents a partnership of a number of funding agencies, including the U.S. Economic Development Administration, of course, Alexander County Government, local industry, Golden Leaf Foundation, Catawba Valley Community College, Duke Energy, and the Appalachian Regional Commission. From an economic development standpoint, I see this project as being extremely important in retaining existing businesses and recruiting new industry to Alexander County. You have before you the project ordinance, and I won't read through every word of this ordinance, but be assured that this has been reviewed by the county manager, Rick French, and by our finance director, Jennifer Herman, and by Sherry Long with the Western Piedmont Council of Governments. I would refer to the meat of the ordinance, which is revenues and expenditures. You'll note under revenues for this project include $1.5 million from the U.S. Department of Commerce, and that is the Economic Development Administration grant that we refer to. Catawba Valley Community College is responsible for $713,596, and Alexander County's match for this project is $400,000 for total project revenues, $2,613,596. And as this is a balanced budget, expenditures for the project include $2,175,021 for construction, $206,430 for architectural and engineering fees, $1,000 for project inspection, $206,145 for contingencies, and $25,000 for grant administration. And the grant is being administered by the Western Piedmont Council of Governments. Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that the board consider approving this project ordinance so that we can move forward with the project. And at this point, I would also just say where we are in the project. We are just still in the design phase of this project, which means we are in the process of selecting an architect for the project. We have advertised and have received proposals, and this time, assuming that you approve the project ordinance tonight, at your next meeting, there will be a recommendation for architect for the project.
David, recollecting an email that you sent to us, there were 3 architects that responded to this renovation, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you'll choose from one of those 3?
One of those 3 will be the recommendation
Okay.
to
And
this
just
board.
a comment on the Catawba Valley Community College portion of the revenues, the $713,596. That does include the Golden Leaf Foundation grant money that was, I guess if you look at the genesis of it, Alexander County at that time, the Golden Leaf Foundation determined that Alexander County was a Tier 1 county. So part of that money is the Golden Leaf Foundation money, is it not?
Yes, sir. That represents Golden Leaf funds. It represents Duke Energy, contribution to the project, local industry contribution, and funds from the CVCC Foundation itself.
And one thing that was important to me to learn, and Linda, you may appreciate this, it was important to me to find out that local industry had contributed to this. That was a big step forward as far as I was concerned.
Yes, sir.
I'd entertain a motion at this time.
Mr. Chairman,
I'd just like to get a clarification. We are speaking about the big building right across the road.
Yes, ma'am.
We're speaking about one of the big buildings that we purchased for the primary use. Those 2 empty buildings sitting over there at the county government bought, we bought those 2 buildings for the primary purpose of trying to grow CVCC. We didn't buy them just for them to sit over there and grow bushes around. They were bought for the purpose of expanding CVCCC to expand on educational opportunities for the citizens of Alexander County. That's what they were there for.
Well,
I'm just trying to clarify that so that
I just wanted
everybody.
the people out there to know that we're not building a
No.
new building.
No, we're not.
We're renovating the building across the road.
That is correct, and that's one of those things that we did so that everybody will understand that we did purchase 2 buildings. We purchased those 2 buildings for the primary purpose of expanding CVCC to expand upon the educational opportunities for the citizens of this county and also for the industry of this county so they could advance their skills so they could possibly remain in Alexander County and work and be a contributing factor to our tax base and to their families and to everybody else and to the population here. It's one of the things we've done. The motion's been made and seconded.
I don't think anybody made a motion,
Okay.
but I did want to add just a couple comments before we.
Well, we can make the motion in a second, then we'll open
Okay,
up for discussion.
I'll make the motion, we approve.
second.
Motion's made second. Now, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to say, this is an economic development project. That's what it is, combined with education. We're expanding educational opportunities for people to compete for jobs that are available in this county. There are jobs available in this county. There is, this is, and what I'd like to, we keep calling it the Applied Technologies Building. We need to come up with a name, and I suggest the Manufacturing Solutions Center, because that's what it is. It is a solution for the manufacturers in this county to find people to work in highly skilled jobs. And the people of this county are going to be able to receive the training for those jobs. But the U.S. Department of Commerce thought this was one of the best projects in the United States. With, that's why they put $1.5 million into this county and into this project. So we appreciate all the industry and all the hard work that they've put into it and all the funds that they've committed to doing.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm done. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a comment too. And Mr. Eisenhower, you can verify what I'm saying is correct. I believe it is. This initial phase of remodeling the Applied Technologies building and whatever we decide to name it in the future, it's not going to take up the entire building. It's only a portion of the building. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So there'll be plenty of room for expansion for other programs.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I think the focus of the entire building will always be for training, but there will be additional space that can be used at some point in the future, hopefully either to expand the training that we're talking about now or for new training in the
Right.
building, whatever that local industry needs. And I think that's one of the great things about this is that there will be some flexibility for expanding training, hopefully to new industry.
Right.
And one thing that the chairman has already said, and I just want to reemphasize it for everybody's consumption, either here in the audience, at home, listening on the radio, or watching on TV, it is to train people to provide them the capability and the training to get jobs in this county. And one analogy and one example I will submit to you, and it always sticks in my mind, and Linda, I know you know this. Hank Bird, for example, says that he has to hire 50% of his employees out of Wilkes County because he can't find trained people in Alexander County. One of the reasons to upfit this building is so the training for those skills that they need at Snyder Mills can be done in this county. So he can hire people if they're trained, from here, trained here, they can get a job at Snyder Mills.
Hank Bird is the CEO of Schneider Mills.
That's correct.
Okay, the motion's been, is there any further discussion?
No.
There being none, call for the vote. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Thank you very much, David. Don't move. I'm going to keep you there. Item number 8, resolution for building reuse grant application for North Carolina Department of Commerce, Precision Materials. Mr. David Eisenhower, please.
Thank you, sir. As you mentioned, you have in your packet a resolution for a new application to the North Carolina Department of Commerce for building reuse funds for Precision Materials. This resolution is a required portion of an application for Precision Materials. Precision Materials, located on Highway 16 South, is in an expansion mode, and they are interested in expanding their building and creating new employment for Alexander County. So I've been working with them on this grant application. As I said, this is a part of this process, and I would ask that you consider approving this resolution tonight so that we can move forward with this full application for the company. Application is due November 4th, and grants will be awarded on December 18th. And Mr. Chairman, this is a fairly short resolution. If you don't mind, I will read the resolution.
Be glad for you to. Thank you.
Whereas Alexander County Board of Commissioners has indicated its desire to assist in economic development efforts for business and industry within Alexander County, and whereas the board fully supports the proposed expansion project proposed by Precision Materials, which will result in the expansion of their existing facility and will create a minimum of 15 new full-time jobs for Alexander County. And whereas the board wishes the county to pursue a formal application for building reuse funds in the amount of $150,000 from the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Division, whereas the board certifies it will provide the 5% match required, $7,500, and will meet all other requirements of the North Carolina Department of Commerce Building Reuse Grant Program. Be it resolved, Alexander County Board of Commissioners, this resolution take effect immediately this day of October 6th. Mr. Chairman, I would be glad to answer any questions you may have, and otherwise I would recommend the board approve this resolution.
I entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we adopt this resolution and disperse the $7,500 needed to match the grant.
Second?
Motion's made and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to ask just a couple questions. David, do you think, they committing to a minimum of 15 new full-time jobs, do you think there's an expectation that it might be more than that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. They have been in expansion mode for a while now, so.
And this is the North Carolina Department of Commerce, whereas the last item on the agenda for the CVCC expansion was the U.S. Department of Commerce, so.
Correct.
But, yeah, I'd just like to say, you know, to the people at Precision Materials that we're glad that you're here in Alexander County, and the commissioners, and I know you at Economic Development will help them in any way you can, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
The motion's been made and second. Any other discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries.
Thank you,
Carry
sir.
forward, sir. Thank you. Another good move for Alexander County.
Thank you, Precision Materials, for the 15 additional jobs.
Yes. Number 9, budget ordinance amendments, number 10 and 11. Mr. French not being here tonight, I will try to do this. But on budget number 10, you see those before you there. The federal equitable share purchases for the Sheriff's Department, that's to put them on the level with the federal government to use the leads online to help them investigate and recover stolen property. The detention, an increase there, and if you see what that's for, that's due to an employee leaving the county employment and having to pay for his vacation and holiday payroll, which will be paid out. It was not placed in the original budget because of the fact that we didn't know who was going to leave and who wasn't. And then, of course, you have the soil and water budget for the training they need, social services. We approved the additional to 6 part-time people there before. However, we do have to do the budget amendment to take care of transferring the money, which will be brought back to the county in the long run. And that's item number 10. Item number 11.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
may I just interject a comment? And the last one, to increase social services budget, when we had the presentation last commission period, our Honorable Social Service Director did project that there would be a savings that would offset the amount of money that we'd have to spend. Cindy, would you like to come in and come up just for a minute, just comment on that real quickly?
Good evening. I apologize for the gum. I didn't know I was going to speak. We did present last time projected Medicaid revenues, and we do still believe that we will bring in the total amount for these 6 positions and a surplus. We project to have all the income to pay for the 6 positions. Was there anything else that you?
No, that's just good. I just wanted to make sure
You just wanted me to say it.
emphasize that we paid for this on savings that we were going to make from your department.
And I do want to say to you, and I'll bring this next time, but there is more good news. There is some additional revenues coming down under child welfare. That's going to be good news to our department and good news to our county. So I'll let you know about that next time.
Very good. Thank you very much, ma'am. And item number 11 is the budget amendment to transfer the funds for the Applied Technology Building in the sum of $400,000. I make a motion that we approve item number 10 and item number 11.
I make a motion, we approve item number 10 and item number 11, budget amendments as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. All opposed likewise, the motion carries. Thank you very much. Some good items in there this time, some very good items. I'll give you a little report on the commissioners, the county manager's report. Of course, on item number 1, that's where they received the letter from the United States Department of Commerce for the EDA award. And Mr. French has been appointed to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Tax and Finance for the 2014 and 15 term. Our next county commissioners meeting will be on November the 3rd at CVCC. And as most of you know, Mr. French is on a vacation of transferring his son from his job back to North Carolina, and he will be back, should be back probably Thursday morning. So if no further, the consent agenda, I entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
All right, motion's made and second. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we do not need a closed session tonight. I'll make a motion at this time that we adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion's made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Thank you very much.